Sooner, why don't you go and receive it once? The first delivery I handled was in the emergency room, and the trembling was so intense at that time. In the position of a close sister or senior, in our country, they say not to become an obstetrician-gynecologist. Obstetrics and gynecology is really a great field. Hello, I am Dr. Chloe Jung Sun-na, the chief doctor at Second Spring Obstetrics and Gynecology. After much thought and deliberation, I have finally started YouTube. I think I can talk a bit more honestly and share the stories I really want to tell with you a bit more closely. It seems you can also more comfortably leave comments and continue communicating. Please give a lot of feedback and share your opinions. If you have anything you're curious about, let us know and we will keep updating. It's so nice to meet you. During my internship, I rotated through the emergency room twice. I was a bit culturally shocked by the patients. They were almost brought in every night drunk. Most of them are men. They cry not because they're in pain, but because they're drunk, passing out anywhere. So they get reported to make sure they don't die. And then 119 paramedics bring them to the ER. They bring them in. But when you see them, they're just completely wasted from alcohol. If they had stayed there, it could have been a big problem. But from our perspective, it was a very tough situation. When they're drunk, they become violent and cause a commotion. Some people create platforms just to criticize, making me feel my abilities are questioned, which made me a bit doubtful. However, I really wanted to go into internal medicine. In the internal medicine intensive care unit or in internal medicine, there is almost nothing an intern can do. Things like wound dressing or taking blood samples, we could only offer very basic help. So that's when reality hit me. What should I do about this? I kept worrying and thinking, oh no, maybe being a doctor doesn't suit me. While having these worries, I ended up in orthopedics. Orthopedics is a surgical department. And it's quite simple, surprisingly. If something breaks, you fix it. If it tears, you stitch it. And this is really fun. And when patients have surgery, they improve dramatically and get discharged. Seeing that, I thought I should go to the operating room. I decided I should choose a surgical department. Orthopedics involves a lot of physically demanding tasks, which can be quite challenging for women. So I gave up on orthopedics. I was wondering which surgical field a woman could actually work in, and I had been keeping obstetrics and gynecology in mind. Then the last rotation was the ER, emergency room. While I was in the emergency room, they said a patient seemed like she was going into labor and was being brought in by car to the emergency room. As soon as they arrived, the delivery happened. And the emergency room resident doctors knew I was very interested in obstetrics, so they said, Sana, why don't you go and assist? They pushed me forward like this, so I received the baby. The baby was safe, and fortunately, the mother was also safe. At that time, it was my first delivery, receiving the baby in the emergency room, and that trembling. I really liked the excitement. The feeling of holding a baby, the feeling of holding the chubby bottom of a baby, I liked all of that so much that I decided I definitely had to go into obstetrics and gynecology, so I applied. The charm of being an obstetrician-gynecologist is truly abundant. First of all, it involves being engaged in a woman's entire life. I think that's really attractive. Being able to play the role of a guardian who can take care of everything is quite appealing, especially as a woman. There are so many relatable aspects too. The fact that I can directly manage, treat, and explain things seems to be quite persuasive to the patients. That part also seems very interesting. And obstetrics and gynecology are divided into life and gynecology. So there is the part of caring for pregnant women and then other gynecological diseases. Because there is also a part that can take care of various things like cancer and tumors, you can find enjoyable fields within obstetrics and gynecology that allow you to care for patients. In a way, obstetrics and gynecology involves seeing intimate parts. The fields where we officially view genitalia seem to be obstetrics and gynecology or urology. I can now address issues that arise in the reproductive organs by examining the patient's genitalia. I think it's an immense privilege. Being able to address and help with concerns about parts that others never casually show to others is incredibly rewarding. It's something you can take tremendous pride in. I think the appeal of studying various instinctive and primal issues that humanity faces is what makes this field offer a different kind of enjoyment compared to others. Still, what was very rewarding for me was that when our teenagers commit some social transgressions, they go to juvenile detention centers. But before entering the juvenile detention center, there is a shelter center where children are separated and reformed. There was a time when I was somehow connected to the children in that shelter, providing them with medical care, sex education, and some care. But those kids at first wore heavy makeup and had a sharp demeanor. But after about 6 months, the makeup was gone and their faces changed to those of innocent teenagers. And later on, they even got a bit closer to me and we could talk about anything. Watching that transformation, I realized that an obstetrician-gynecologist can also help as an expert in this aspect. Although it wasn't about saving a life or rescuing a critical patient, it was an immensely rewarding experience for me. Even though I have praised obstetrics and gynecology a lot, the reason the number of gynecologists is decreasing is, first of all, because I think the biggest problem is the declining birth rate. Even though they are married, many patients say, I won't have a baby, I have no plans to have a baby. As a result, opportunities for obstetricians to act are decreasing. It gives me that feeling as well. However, especially in obstetrics, the process of delivery and maintaining a pregnancy seems natural. But there are quite a few dangerous incidents along the way. As a result, situations over which doctors have no control, so-called irresistible situations, can occur, as stated even in textbooks. Despite this, situations occur a certain percentage of the time which are beyond the doctor's control. With the emergence of systems like societal judgments pushing fault on doctors and concepts such as strict liability, obstetricians are finding it challenging to manage. It becomes too much of a burden. When you continuously perform deliveries, there is a definite possibility that 1 or 2 accidents might occur in a doctor's lifetime. If a situation arises where they have to pay several billion won, who would want to take that on? Is there any doctor who wants the baby of a mother in their care to have something go wrong? I don't think there is any, but despite that, the judgments and the social atmosphere are pushing in that direction. And as lawsuits continue to increase, I honestly now, I am not attending deliveries. It's unfortunate. Obstetrics is truly a wonderful field. I really enjoy meeting with patients and feel rewarded in the process of helping them. When an issue is discovered during a checkup, many have already been sent to the university for resolution. As a woman, being able to be involved in such events throughout one's life is great. But from the standpoint of just a close sister or senior, I really want to become a doctor, earn a lot of money, and succeed quickly. Well, if that's the case, I think obstetrics and gynecology is even more a field to be cautious about. So I hope you think about it carefully. If the feeling that you truly like it is greater and you absolutely want to go into obstetrics and gynecology, then it's okay to choose obstetrics and gynecology, but it's a challenging field to choose without serious consideration. That's what I would like to say.